Cats. The video game genre has quite a wide variety of the adorable little bastards, hasn't it? You've got your failed mascot cats, your sexy cats, your fat meme cats, and your mentally depressed cats suffering from dissociation, derealization, anxiety, and occasional bouts of ADHD. Rah.
You should probably expect spoilers.
MAE Borowski, the main character from Night in the Woods, is a cat that has returned home after dropping out of college. Poor girl, you might say, but in fact MAE doesn't seem too fazed by being a failure of higher education. If anything, she appears more relieved to finally be out of there and finding comfort in her old life. Or she would be, if everything from her old life hadn't changed during her absence. The harsh reality for MAE is that while she was gone, life in her hometown of Possum Springs continued without her. Friends moved on to other things, and now that she was back, she was having a difficult time trying to find a way to fit back in. The majority of the game follows MAE as she comes to terms with these changes, as well as some supernatural shit in the last 2 chapters that I really didn't care for.
Visual design.
MAE is a dark blue cat whose outfit consists of a dark orange top, dark trousers, and dark bottle green boots. Dark things. Though it might not look like it due to the simple and soft art style, a number of interesting key points are littered within MAE's design. Firstly, the tuft of hair on the top of her head displays what appears to be a fading red hue, showing us that at one point MAE more than likely had dyed her hair red, but now the colour was washed out. This says to me that while MAE might like to express herself, she lacks consistent motivation to keep catering for it. Either she loses interest quickly, or she can be considered quite lazy, though it's more than likely a bit of both of those aspects are correct. Another interesting part to her design is the graphic on her shirt, the number 0. It's clear the developers wanted to make sure the symbol was not mistaken for the letter O, hence putting the strike through it to display it as a 0. This logo might reflect how MAE feels about herself. A 0, someone who hasn't really achieved anything with their life, or it could even symbolize how MAE depicts the world around her, being detached from it all and thus feeling like there is nothing there. Either way, in a game with a simplistic art style that provides a minimal amount of detail, to have this particular symbol on MAE's shirt is likely there for a reason, and I don't think was placed there for the sake of filling up space. Overall, MAE's design is grim on the eyes. She feels grimy and grungy, almost unclean in some regard. There's a lot of dark colour placements with very little inviting areas. Considering the nature of the character and her troubled personality, it is fitting for her to be presented this way. You're able to get a pretty good gist of what you're in for with MAE just by looking at her, and on those merits alone, it feels like a solid bit of character design.
Personality.
MAE suffers from a number of mental health issues. Anxiety has played a big part of her life, and also couples together with her dissociation to the world that she perceives. She feels a detachment from everything, noticing people and objects as nothing more than shapes, no longer recognizing any emotional colouring to their existence. At one point in the past, it got so bad for her that she snapped and lashed out at a fellow school kid, beating him up severely with a baseball bat. The incident was regarded as the first major sign that something was wrong with MAE, and her family sought medical attention for her. After numerous therapy sessions, the doctor prescribed MAE with a journal and told her to draw pictures and make notes of everything she experiences on a day-to-day basis. This type of treatment would slowly allow MAE to bring foundations back to her perception of the world. Writing in her journal has clearly helped MAE gain some control, but it's not cured her. She still has some trouble connecting to reality, making her come across a little cold and abrupt when talking. She also still suffers from anxiety, to the point where she would rather shut down her entire day and not do a single thing if it meant it would allow her to avoid confronting the issue that's causing her to panic in the first place. She also has ADHD. One minute she'll be fine, and then the next she'll either be tearing down the walls or losing herself to her scrambled thoughts again, travelling off topic and generally forgetting what she was doing just a minute ago. I don't think I've ever come across a video game character like this. I mean, you get the occasional character who might suffer from any single disorder, but very rarely have I seen a character, let alone the main player character, incorporate such a list of issues. Not only is this different and gives us a different kind of character to experience, but it also allows a number of people who suffer from similar mental health issues to relate to what MAE might be going through. That's a pretty impressive angle to write a character in, and it gets my commendations for it. I just wish she would stop saying the word like so much. Like.
Importance.
Not only is MAE important in successfully demonstrating different layers of mental health, but she also presented something else quite successfully too. Life. With all its winding roads, how different people's pathways will run alongside our own for a short while, only to veer away from us later on down the line. How time doesn't stop and wait for you to catch up, life will just change before you notice it changing. The very essence of feeling like you're stuck going nowhere while the whole world around you moves on and progresses and evolves, and you're just stuck in the same spot that you've always been stuck in. Night in the Woods, and Mae in particular, grabbed my attention due to this understanding of life. Real life. Someone else outside of my own existence had experienced rude awakenings, having the rug pulled out from underneath their feet when they weren't ready to jump, and put those exact feelings into this game. There are numerous times during Night in the Woods where Mae can choose to hang out with her old friends. It's these get-togethers that usually present you with a moment that captures a bittersweet understanding of life. The one that stood out to me the most was during a scene at a diner between Mae and her best friend Greg. On one hand, I wanted to be happy for Greg and the news he gave me, but on the other hand, I felt this familiar feeling of getting left behind and realizing that you're not the center of somebody else's universe. This understanding of time pressing forward with or without you. It was a very brief but powerful scene for me in particular, and I related to it heavily. When it comes to the supporting cast, the one character I would preferably like to highlight in terms of importance is Greg himself. Greg is someone Mae really adores, clearly the bestest friend she ever made. In her journal, she absolutely sings his praises and will write numerous times how Greg rules, okay? It's almost borderline fanatical how much she admires the guy. The reason why her connection to Greg interests me is, and this is just my personal theory on it, but it's more than likely Mae had at one point or another developed feelings of love for Greg. From the writings in her journal to playfully saying, "I love you, man." Even later on in the story where Mae refers to a robotic puppet that she and Greg had rebuilt together as their son, the undertones to her words seem to be lightly laced with affection. Of course, if this were the case, then Mae must also understand that Greg could never be anything more than a friend to her because firstly, he's gay, and secondly, he's got a boyfriend that he is absolutely in love with. I'm not saying Mae crushing on Greg is what did happen here, it's mostly down to a matter of interpretation. But if not that, then at the absolute least, Greg is a damn fine friend to Mae, and she clearly values him as a brother type figure.
Conclusion.
Mae is an interesting one. She looks and acts like a Saturday morning kids cartoon show character with her zany stupidity and rambling tangents, most of which are often filled with buzzwords and Twitter meme humour. On the other hand, she's a clear symbol and reference point to mental health and what living with such conditions can be like. Mae entertains and informs without ever feeling patronising about either of the two, and that's a pretty solid achievement right there. If that wasn't enough, she personally resonated with me in regards to life, circumstances, and how the passing of time can often take us by surprise. She's not perfect though. Mae has a lot going on for her character in such a short game, probably more than she needed to have happen to her. Chances are not everything about her will appeal to everybody either. You may even find aspects about her annoying or off-putting, and that will be understandable, but I do implore everybody to give this game a try and see what you personally come away with after spending some time with Mae.